Wow, that actually stayed in frame. Hello there, welcome to AMBR Builds, where assembly may be required. Join me as I document my journey back into LEGO collecting. And the Imperial TIE Fighter that stayed into frame is going to be the topic of this video. This is set 75300, and it is 432 pieces. If you saw my backlog video, then you might already know this box is damaged, supposedly, although it really doesn't look that bad. And I got a nice 10% off when I found it at Barnes & Noble's. So this set has 3 minifigures and the TIE Fighter itself, and it came out in January of 2021. It did release at $40, but then when LEGO did their price increases summer of 2022, they upped it to $45. And I believe it was the $45 price that I got 10% off of, but that is neither here nor there. I was very excited to get this set because this is my first LEGO TIE Fighter. And I have an X-Wing, I have a Millennium Falcon, and I have a couple A-Wings. So I'm very excited to see how this works and how it looks in scale with those. And also, judging by the box, the pictures on the box, the one thing a lot of people have to say about this is that it looks too small. But truthfully, I don't think that's the case. So I'm going to unbox this, I'm going to start building it, and then I'll let you know. Bag 1 is the cockpit and the TIE pilot. And bag 2 is the right side wing and the Death Star droid, NIL-8. And bag 3 is the left side wing, the green missiles, and a stormtrooper. Now first up, let's look at the minifigs. One thing I'm really happy LEGO didn't do with the TIE pilot was make the tubes that are attached to his helmet a 3D piece and really attach them to the helmet. I think they look better printed onto his torso, and I think it would have made the figure look very bulky, so I'm happy they still print him on. Another thing I really like is the silver detail. They have it on his belt and also on his helmet for his insignia and also the lines going down the front. And I think on an otherwise very flat looking minifig, that's what's needed to make it pop. When we take his helmet off like a Scooby-Doo villain, we actually find out it was Lex Luthor the whole time. And although he would ideally be flying his TIE Fighter, he still has a pistol in case he ends up on the front lines. Next, we're going to take a look at the Death Star droid, NIL-8. And putting how he actually looks to the side for a moment, I think his name is so cool. He is literally Annihilate. With such a cool name, he really should have came with a weapon. I don't care if he's meant to just walk around the Death Star. If your name's Annihilate, you really need to have some rocket launcher at the very least. He also has nice silver detailing to make him pop, and I also really like the red, blue, and yellow wires printed on his midsection. Move along, nothing to see here. This is just your standard as they come stormtrooper. Now that's not a knock against the figure, he's just not the most exciting figure to include, but I'm happy they gave him one. I feel like any Imperial set should come with one because it really helps you build your army. He is a great fig, he's definitely better than the older stormtrooper design. He has more detailing on his torso, his back, and his legs, and his helmet is a little more detailed as well. The only slight inconvenience with his helmet that the older ones don't have is the fact that it doesn't turn. And yes, everybody's already heard the joke that this helmet kind of looks like Peter Griffin's Stormtrooper helmet on Family Guy. Now I noticed the box calls this the Imperial TIE Fighter, as if to specify this is the TIE Fighter that the Empire uses, as opposed to the TIE Fighter that the Rebels use. I really love the wing design on this. That might be my favorite part of the TIE Fighter itself. Just the greeveling around the center part there, I think they used the perfect amount of detail, and they used those pieces that they almost look like ping pong paddles to me. I'm not too sure what they're used for in other sets, but they definitely could be a ping pong paddle. And I like the tiles that they used to create the lines on it, and especially the sides where they used plates and tiles and little hook pieces so that as it goes around from the bottom and the top, you can clip in more tiles and plates on the side. And to really give it that hexagon shape right at the middle, they used these ball joint plates, which I just think was really good attention to detail. One thing I noticed is that the missiles are actually hollow. They have a little hole in them. I'm not sure if that helps them fly or why that's really there. It's just an observation. And the TIE Fighter itself is really easy to seat the pilot in. He doesn't have any studs to connect to when he's sitting in there, and he's just sitting on some tiles, but he fits in very nicely. And then his little controls on the side there, you can move up as much as you'd like, and then you can close the top and the side, and he's ready to fly. Now the pilot does look really good through the windshield. It is dark tinted, so it's hard to see him in most lighting, but when you get a close enough look, he looks very good and like he's actually holding on to his red controls on the sides. Now the one thing I was surprised was that they didn't include anywhere to store his pistol. I was expecting there to be either a little compartment you can drop it into, or even a clip, whether it was on the bottom or on the inside, but I feel like that's something easy you can modify this to put in for yourself. Now to answer the question, is this TIE Fighter a little short to be a TIE Fighter? Well, it's safe to say that this TIE Fighter was scaled to be in proportion to the X-Wing that came out in the same year. And according to rebelscale.com, which is a website that has a whole page dedicated to the size of the TIE Fighter, they say that the TIE Fighter's size is probably one of the most fluid size changes in all of Star Wars, that due to different inconsistencies when filming, TIE Fighters ended up being different sizes, and even from movie to movie, like from the originals to Rogue One, the general dimensions of it have changed. So I think that is good to note when you're thinking about this TIE Fighter in comparison to TIE Fighters of the past. It's kind of neat to think that even as they were making the films, TIE Fighters didn't always scale exactly the same, which could be due to different production reasons. But when it comes to the world of LEGO, I don't think this is a bad shape and a bad size TIE Fighter. I think the wings are proportionate enough to the cockpit, and overall it's very proportionate to the minifigs. I think next to the 2019 Millennium Falcon, it does scale pretty nicely. And here it is next to the 2006 X-Wing as well, and I don't think they look that disproportionate from each other. And one last comparison, just because I think it's a running joke now on this channel, here is the TIE Fighter scaled next to the Magic Kingdom Castle. Overall, I think the 75300 TIE Fighter is a great set to pose, a great set to hold, and a great set to swoosh around. But I want to know what you think about this. Do you think there's been a better TIE Fighter so far, or have we finally reached minifig scale perfection in this area of LEGO Star Wars? Please let me know in the comments below. Alright, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, thanks for watching.